serve a just God, and I rest easy in knowing that He's sovereign, but He's just. And so let the Lord handle that.
Would Charlie have forgiven his killer?
He's in heaven.
They bring this back up. What are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? No, at this point, it's what? The conspiracy collection. Get it before Christmas. Look, stop in the name of God.
Amen.
Grief can hit harder than almost anything in life, and it can get messy fast. Heartbreak, regret, sadness, frustration, and anger can all crash down at the same time, leaving someone emotionally overwhelmed. When that much pain lands at once, people might act differently, struggle to stay composed, or show emotions in ways others simply don't expect. Most people know grief doesn't come with a rule book, so they usually give someone dealing with loss extra patience, compassion, and space. But when the spotlight gets involved, things can switch up real quick. If people start questioning whether someone's public emotions appear genuine, speculation can spread across social media before all the facts are clear. That's where things get complicated.
Is Erika Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you had no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, "Mommy, I missed you." I said, "I miss you too, baby." She goes, "Where's Daddy?" What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, "Baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget."
Right now, Erika Kirk is facing intense public attention, with people closely analyzing her words, expressions, and reactions while debating what they believe those moments actually mean. Just a few months ago, the country was rocked by the news that Erika Kirk's husband, conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, had been fatally shot while speaking at a public event on a college campus in Utah. The attack immediately became a huge national story, and suddenly the spotlight wasn't just on what happened. It was also locked onto the people closest to Charlie and how they responded afterward. Most people expected Erika to be dealing with unimaginable grief, but the public conversation quickly became way more complicated. Instead of receiving sympathy across the board, nearly every public appearance, statement, and reaction has been examined frame by frame online. Some comment
That man, that young man, I forgive him. I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love.
Nights. But it's interesting. What I miss the most, what really just hits me hard, is when I'm in the grocery store and I see his hot sauce. I want to buy it. Or it's the little things, his clothes everywhere. Excuse me, but it's the little things. And I know that people who have experienced loss totally understand what I'm saying. It's the small things that just get you. It's the visual of, Daddy coming home, and to the world, he was Charlie Kirk, but to us, he was my love of my life and my children's dad. I'm so sorry.
Before long,
commentators have questioned whether certain parts of her public behavior match what they expected from someone grieving, while others say that judging a person's grief from clips and appearances is straight up unfair. With social media digging into every detail and different theories bouncing around, the scrutiny surrounding Erika has only gotten louder and more intense. That massive wave of attention has put Erika under a level of scrutiny most people could barely imagine. Every appearance, reaction, facial expression and statement seems to get watched, clipped, replayed, and debated online. For some of Charlie Kirk's supporters, Erika stepping into a much more visible role isn't just another development. It could shape how his supporters remember him and the legacy he wanted to build. And that's exactly where the debate gets heated. Supporters and critics are looking at the same moments and walking away with completely different takes.
Hey, this is not a grieving woman.
Well,
And we
not
had a
like that,
grief
but-
counselor on here. We had a body language expert on here. Both of them said, the grief counselor said, this is not grief. You know, the everybody grieves differently thing. I know that. I have seen plenty of women grieve in my lifetime. I have seen that personally in my life, people that I know watching women grieve. They do. They all grieve differently. But this is not grief.
I'm starting to cry. He says he's so proud of you. And I say, God bless you. And I touch the back of his head. Anyone who I've hugged that I have touched the back of your head when I hug you, I always say, God bless you. That's just me. If you want to take that out of context, go right ahead. Again, that to me shows that you need a hug more than anyone else. So if anyone...
They were acting like you touched the back of his ass.
I feel like I wouldn't get as much hate if I did that.
However, a whole lot of the social media world that you would have expected to be behind her kept claiming that there was something inherently fraudulent about her behavior.
It's your boy Luis, live from Lou Extras, and this is the curious case of Erika Kirk. Many people really started paying attention to Erika in the days after the tragic attack that took Charlie's life. One moment in particular blew up across the internet. Erika posted a video showing herself speaking to Charlie beside his casket. It was an intensely personal scene shared publicly. And once it hit social media, people immediately began debating what they saw, what it meant, and whether that moment should even be judged at all.
Let everyone see what true evil is.
It's interesting. What I miss the most, what really just hits me hard is when I'm in the grocery store and I see his hot sauce. I want to buy it. Or it's the little things, you know, his clothes everywhere, excuse me, but it's the little things. And I know that people who have experienced loss totally understand what I'm saying. It's the small things that just get you. It's the visual of, you know, Daddy coming home, and to the world he was Charlie Kirk, but to us he was my love of my life and my children's dad. I'm so sorry.
Understandable.
Excuse me, but it's those little things where, again, he would walk through the door, drop his bags, Daddy's home, take his phone, Friday night, Shabbat Shalom, throw it in the junk drawer, and it was just all us. And that's what I always wanted to make so special for him, was coming home. I'd always say, baby, I don't care what time you get home. Home is here for you. Your food will never be cold. It might sit out for a little bit, but I'll reheat it. It's fine. And I just want to encourage spouses, don't get mad. It's so easy.
Although you could once again make the
Not long after that, Erika addressed the public directly and declared that Charlie's message would never die. She also made one thing crystal clear. She planned to keep pushing forward with the mission he cared so deeply about, putting herself in an even bigger public role during an already emotional time. Then came a moment that caught plenty of viewers off guard. At a high-profile memorial service for Charlie Kirk, attended by several prominent Trump supporters, Erika once again found herself under the national spotlight. During her speech, she offered words of forgiveness toward the person accused of killing her husband. That deeply emotional statement immediately got people talking, with reactions spreading fast across social media. Some praised the message as an expression of faith and compassion, while others questioned how they should interpret such a striking public moment. Going into the memorial, Erika and her team likely hoped the event would serve as a powerful tribute to Charlie's life, beliefs, and message. Her appearance seemed designed to communicate compassion, strength, and faith, while she faced the enormous pain of losing her husband.
Erika Kirk in real life at church since Charlie died. And I will tell you that the performance in real life is as bad as it is on TV. I'm talking reserved front row pew, bringing her whole entourage, not her children, showing up late, dabbing her eyes when she walks back from communion because it's the one time that the whole church can see her because she's in the front row. And before you jump down my throat and say, oh, it's security purposes. No, it's not, because this church has a side section that is closer to the exit that she comes in and out of, and where only probably about 5% of the church would actually be able to see her if that's where she was sitting. But no, front row seat, the whole circus.
Caitlin Willenship. That means your new Miss Arizona USA 2012 is Erika Franzve.
At the same time, it showed Erika stepping forward with a clear intention. Keep moving, preserve Charlie's legacy, and continue promoting the ideas and mission that had become such a major part of his public life. But plenty of viewers came away from that speech with a totally different read on the situation. Across social media, some critics claimed Erika's delivery seemed too rehearsed or polished for such an emotional moment, while others pushed back hard, saying grief doesn't look the same for everybody. That clash of opinions blew up online, with people analyzing everything from her words to her delivery and arguing over what, if anything, those details actually proved. Afterward, some expected Erika to fall back from public life for a while and spend more time privately with her family. Instead, she stepped into a bigger role at Turning Point USA and helped promote Charlie Kirk's book after its posthumous release. That move kicked off a steady run of interviews, speeches, and other public appearances. As Erika became more visible, some viewers thought they were watching someone still finding her footing as a public speaker, while supporters saw growing confidence and determination.
I think you're a bright light in a very dark place.
So let's go grab a mojito.
When I lived out here, I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than going, I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. My situation was a little different. I wouldn't do it.
You went to a job interview.
Literally. So this is how good the Lord is. He knew that because I was not dating in New York City, he knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview.
Either way, the spotlight wasn't cooling down. Every new appearance became another moment for the internet to clip, replay, dissect, and debate from completely different angles. Nearly every interview, headline, and public comment seemed to trigger another round of heated debate, with critics breaking down Erika's words, body language, and appearances like every little detail was a clue. And everybody knows how the internet moves. A single clip can turn into a non-stop conversation overnight, with people jumping in simply because the story is suddenly everywhere. Even after Charlie Kirk's death, memes and jokes about him continued circulating, showing just how quickly serious events can get pulled into online culture.
And Tyler Boyer isn't the only one that's close to orphanages in Eastern Europe around TPUSA. Erika Kirk herself is another one. She's been tied to orphanages in Eastern Europe, specifically in Romania, through a program called Romanian Angels since she was a teenager. When she was 17 years old, she founded Romanian Angels as a nonprofit. So in effect, since Erika's childhood, she's been running orphanages in Eastern Europe, a trafficking hotbed. Is that normal activity for a 17-year-old girl to be involved with? Of course it's not. But when your father is a high-ranking member of the military-industrial complex linked to Israel's Iron Dome and American arms sales to the pariah state, and when your mother is geofencing and data mining, and she's a propagandist who's tied directly to the Israeli Foreign Affairs Ministry, maybe hanging around orphanages really isn't all that unusual.
For some people following Turning Point USA, Erika's growing public role raised questions that went beyond the usual internet noise. Some supporters and critics began debating whether her public expressions of grief matched what they personally expected grief to look like. Those reactions spread fast, and soon her interviews, speeches, expressions, and statements were being picked apart from every direction. At the same time, plenty of people pushed back against that scrutiny, arguing that judging somebody's grief from edited clips and public appearances can be deeply misleading. Loss hits everybody differently, and there's no single correct way someone is supposed to look while dealing with it. Before long, the scrutiny around Erika reached another level entirely. People online started zooming in on her facial expressions, body language, tone, and even tiny mannerisms, with some claiming those details offered clues about her intentions. But others pushed back hard, arguing that nobody can truly know what another person is feeling from a few public appearances, edited clips, or moments caught on camera.
They always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. We've been to Israel twice together, and to be able to walk in the place where our Lord walked and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor, how could you hate that place?
I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Yep. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay?
Before Charlie Kirk was killed, he said Charlie Kirk fears that Israel will kill him if he continues ahead, providing space for Israel critics.
Charlie kind of starting to question the amount of influence that Israel has in U.S., not only domestic politics, but foreign politics as well.
I just don't think we should go to war with Iran. Is a nuclear weapon Iran a threat to America? Probably. Could be. A threat to Israel, but is it a threat to America? I mean, India has nuclear weapons. Pakistan has nuclear weapons.
At the same time, some supporters openly said they preferred Erika when she stayed away from the spotlight rather than becoming such a visible public figure. Then one viral comment took that criticism in an especially sharp direction. We owe Charlie Kirk an apology. We were like, how dare you say women should stay at home? But now that we've seen a lot of Erika, it's like, oh, okay. That quote raced across social media and kicked off another messy round of debate. Some people treated it like a brutal summary of their frustration, while others argued that one viral remark, especially one built around a sweeping judgment about a woman's public role, shouldn't define the wider conversation. But if Erika thought the criticism had already hit its peak, another controversy was waiting right around the corner.
That Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. It's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence.
During a public event, cameras captured her hugging Vice President J.D. Vance, and that brief interaction quickly blew up across social media. Some commenters claimed the embrace looked more personal than they expected, while others said people were reaching way too far and turning a completely normal greeting into online drama. Then images of the hug began circulating alongside clips and comments where Erika had spoken highly of Vance, and that combination sent speculation into overdrive. Some critics argued that the optics looked questionable to them, but there was no clear evidence that the interaction was anything beyond a friendly public moment. Others strongly defended Erika, saying that internet was building a whole story out of a few seconds caught on camera. The debate got even messier because supporters pointed to Erika's known friendship with Vance's wife, Usha, as important context. Once again, people watched the exact same footage and came away with wildly different interpretations, showing just how closely Erika's every move was being watched and debated. The debate spread crazy fast, with people picking sides and defending their take like the whole interaction proved something major.
I want to say one more thing rather explosively. 3 people told me off record. 2 people who have this in a written communication from Charlie. 1 who is a Turning Point USA donor, and I would say very much one of the white knights in this. The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me. Okay, he did not express that to me, so I am telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people. And I am saying this because I hope that these people, who I think are good, will be inspired to come forward with that. Now, again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across the world for people who want to know what the heck happened on 9/10, that, you know, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did the day before he died think that he was going to be killed, and maybe tell us, who is they? Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill him?
As the criticism got louder, Erika addressed the moment directly, explaining that friendly physical contact like that was normal for her and was never intended to suggest anything beyond a familiar greeting. But even after that explanation, the chatter didn't disappear. Some people online who might normally have been expected to support Erika continued questioning how she presented herself in public. Critics claimed certain appearances simply didn't feel authentic to them, while others fired back that people were seriously overanalyzing a handful of isolated moments. One criticism that kept popping up focused on Erika's emotional interviews, with some commenters saying her delivery came across as insincere. Still, that remained their interpretation, not proof of what she was actually feeling. Plenty of others strongly disagreed, arguing that nobody can accurately measure another person's grief through facial expressions, interview clips, or a few highly publicized moments caught on camera. Then, Erika's appearances at high-profile fundraising events, including gatherings at Mar-a-Lago, gave the internet even more to talk about. Some critics argued that the timing created awkward optics, considering everything surrounding her, while supporters saw nothing strange about her continuing to attend political and organizational events. Either way, those appearances became another piece of the story that people picked apart from every possible angle. And with that spotlight getting brighter, almost everything Erika did started receiving extra attention. Plenty of people stressed that grief looks different for everybody, and that showing up at public events doesn't reveal what someone is dealing with behind closed doors. Still, the criticism kept rolling in. Some people claiming to know Erika, or saying they had interacted with her away from the cameras, began sharing negative accounts of those encounters online.
Right. And I should actually first, let's read the top comment from last episode. This person wrote, Issa Rae wrote, Erika Kirk will forgive someone 1 week later for murdering her husband, but she won't forgive someone for not believing the FBI narrative. I saw a lot of people commenting that online, that the energy definitely feels different for people that want to get to the truth than it does for the person who she believes their husband. And I don't believe that that is the person who pulled the trigger. I just don't. And you're allowed to disagree with Erika. You are. And that's fine. She's allowed to think what she thinks, and you're allowed to think what you think. That's what I want you guys to know.
As things progressed, Candace became more pointed in her investigation of Erika specifically, implying that she had some intelligence ties and uncovering some truly strange things in the process.
That the person the planes were actually tracking for years was Erika. Not Charlie, but Erika was the one being tracked by these planes. And indeed, it turns out that she was correct. She discovered that between 2022 and September 2025, both of those aircrafts, SU-BTT, the yellow plane, and SU-BND, the blue plane, showed 68 overlaps with Erika's documented locations. Okay, 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped, okay? And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. Charlie was also present. And that's what I was stumbling upon when I was looking into this. I was like, why is this plane where Charlie is?
Stories traveled fast, but there's an important catch. Personal claims spreading on social media aren't automatically verified facts, and some people questioned whether those accounts had enough evidence or context behind them. That's when the online digging really kicked into gear. As some critics became more skeptical of Erika's public image, they started combing through older parts of her life and resurfacing moments they believed clashed with the values they now associated with her. Others pushed back hard, arguing that this kind of internet detective work can cherry-pick details, strip away context, and create a much more dramatic picture than the full story actually supports. That shift took the conversation down a completely different road, and suddenly people were digging deeper into Erika's past than ever before. Instead of only dissecting her latest interviews and public appearances, online users started scrolling back through earlier chapters of her life.
Egyptian-registered aircraft were following Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, around for a number of years in different places in the world. And I just want to say that that is factually true.
The podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Hunting for old photos, television appearances, and details they believe deserved a second look. So what do we actually know publicly about Erika's life before Charlie Kirk? One detail getting fresh attention is her modeling background. Erika took part in photo shoots that showed more skin than some critics expected based on the image they associate with her today. When those older pictures resurfaced, they quickly made the rounds online and kicked off another heated debate. Some critics claimed the photos didn't line up with the values they now connect to Erika, while others said that argument was a stretch. Old modeling photos don't automatically tell you somebody's current beliefs, values, or character. Erika also won the Miss Arizona title, another chapter of her earlier life that has been pulled back into the spotlight. But the throwback that really had people doing a double take was her appearance on Bravo's Summer House. The reality series follows young professionals spending summer weekends in the Hamptons, mixing careers and relationships with parties, hookups, personal drama, and plenty of reality TV chaos. Erika appeared in episodes 11 and 12 of Season 3, where she was introduced as a new romantic interest for cast member Carl.
Like me to stop lying, and I would like to honor that, okay? I can only honor that if Erika is more explicit in terms of what I have lied about. What did I lie about? It's just incredible. There have this opportunity. The questions have been before. You could just start like going through them. Maybe they will. By the way, it's coming on Saturday. Maybe I've made a mistake somewhere and I'm happy. I want to correct that, right? I'm not interested. My goal is not to tell lies. It is obviously plausible that I have made mistakes. I've reviewed these lists that we've put together, and I can't find the lie, okay? The lies that I find are coming out of Turning Point USA.
Years later, those episodes have been dug back up and circulated online, giving both supporters and critics another piece of her history to discuss. Some viewers treat the footage like it reveals a side of Erika they didn't know existed, while others say that's reaching. A short reality TV appearance from years ago captures one period of somebody's life. It doesn't automatically explain who they are today or how their views may have changed over time. On its own, Erika's reality TV appearance might not look like some huge revelation, but critics quickly zeroed in on it because they believed it clashed with Erika's public statement that she had not dated anyone for roughly 5 years before meeting Charlie. Once people started comparing that statement with the timeline of her summer house appearance, the internet did what it does best, started digging, comparing dates, and arguing over whether everything actually lined up. Critics claimed other publicly available details raised even more questions about that timeline. Supporters, however, pushed back hard, saying a reality show storyline, old records, and bits of information pulled from different years don't necessarily reveal the full context of someone's private dating life. And that distinction matters. Without complete information, an apparent timeline conflict isn't automatically proof that somebody lied. Still, the debate took off, with critics seeing a possible inconsistency, while supporters saw another example of internet speculation being treated like a confirmed fact. One name that suddenly started getting major attention in all this online digging was Cabot Phillips, now a senior editor at the Daily Wire. Before that, Phillips served as editor-in-chief of Campus Reform, worked in digital grassroots efforts during Marco Rubio's 2016 presidential campaign, and later became Charlie Kirk's producer. As people dug further into Erika's past, some internet users began circulating archived and reportedly deleted social media posts that they claimed suggested Phillips and Erika may have had a romantic connection before she met Charlie. That theory quickly took off online and became another messy piece of the wider debate. But those claims are heavily disputed, and the posts alone don't establish that a romantic relationship actually happened. Critics say the archived material supports their interpretation, while supporters argue that old posts, missing context, and incomplete digital records can create a misleading picture when stitched together years later.
4.5 hours later, I'm alive. I'm totally fine, and I'm sorry. I was going to do a show for you guys this evening, but I am truly exhausted. Very productive conversation. I asked every single question. I mean, from Egyptian planes to Turning Point USA Faith, and I was very surprised by some of the answers that I got, and I think they were also very surprised when I shared certain intel. This probably should have happened a very long time ago, but I wanted to let you guys know that I am alive, and I will have the full rundown for you guys tomorrow of what transpired. And yeah, I think it was definitely a very big step in the right direction. So
Erika's public statement that she didn't drink alcohol also became part of the online investigation. Some critics started comparing that claim against older material they found, while supporters pushed back, arguing that isolated photos, posts, or moments don't necessarily reveal what somebody consumed, or provide enough context to prove a contradiction. Critics then started resurfacing older material they believed didn't match some of Erika's later public comments. One example that circulated heavily came from an article attributed to Erika that included the line about enjoying happy hour with my favorite human, JT Massey, conveniently my incredible boyfriend. Other users dug up older social media posts they claimed showed her promoting alcohol-related events or hosting a club night. Once those receipts started making the rounds, the conversation got even louder. But the material still left plenty of room for context and interpretation. For critics, those archived posts raised a bigger question. Had Erika's public story changed over the years? Others weren't buying that argument at all. They pointed out that people can change their habits, lifestyles, and personal choices over time, and that promoting an event involving alcohol doesn't necessarily prove what somebody personally drank. In other words, old posts may raise questions, but they don't automatically provide the answers.
It was Erika saying that she had Charlie's phone and that Charlie never texted anybody the night before saying that he thought that they were going to kill him. And that obviously reflected poorly on me because I was the one who said that he did, in fact, text multiple people. They owned that right away and explained. Erika said that she has Charlie's phone. She's looking at his iMessages, and it turns out that he, like everybody else, communicates on Signal. He communicates on Telegram, and that those when she heard me say that, they then went and looked, and yes, that what I said was true. Andrew Colbert received a message the night before, and Dan Flood received a message the night before. Now, they asked me if I had actually like a concrete a copy of what Dan Flood got the night before, and I said no. Somebody told me what it said, which was almost exactly what Andrew said, which is they're going to kill me. Andrew did not know who they that the they that he was referring to were.
As more archived content surfaced, people kept looking at the same material and reaching completely different conclusions. Once those posts gained serious traction, the reactions got even more intense. Some commenters declared, all credibility is gone, while others posted hypocrisy at its finest. Those were strong accusations, and some people argued that any genuinely inaccurate public statements deserved clarification. Supporters pushed back just as hard, saying isolated quotes, old posts, and snapshots from years ago can be stripped of context and turned into something they were never meant to prove. With both sides digging in, the controversy kept expanding as more people searched Erika's past for anything they believed could support their side of the story. As critics kept digging through Erika's background, public records, and reported financial connections, some started claiming there could be a much bigger story hiding underneath it all. But that's where the line between receipts and rumors becomes extremely important. Those broader theories remain online speculation, not established fact, even though they've kept Erika under a microscope and turned almost every newly surfaced detail into another heated discussion.
I said that I want to hear why people feel so confident at Turning Point USA that Tyler Robinson is the guy. And at this point, they elected to call the lawyer, their lawyer who is involved in this case, one of the lawyers that's involved in this case. There's always a team of lawyers, especially for something like this. And what I got from the lawyer did not make me feel that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. It did not make me feel confident that he didn't or did shoot Charlie Kirk. I was very surprised by this. He spoke a very long time. I asked, can you share with me what it is? And I said, when you share this with me, I will not say what that thing is. If that's what if we want to protect the integrity of the case, I'm not gonna. If you say we've got the footage of him taking a shot, I promise I won't say that to the audience, but I will communicate to them.
One part of Erika's background that has received serious attention involves her reported work with an evangelical ministry in Romania. Publicly available information indicates that the organization contracted with the U.S. military and was also involved in helping place children for adoption. Romania and the surrounding region have faced documented human trafficking problems, which led some online users to make darker connections. But there's a major distinction here. There is no public evidence establishing that the ministry itself participated in human trafficking. Simply operating in a region affected by a crime does not connect an organization, or Erika, to that crime. Then the online digging moved into Erika's family background. Her parents are divorced, and reports indicate that her mother spent nearly 2 decades working at General Electric before later founding several companies connected to the network security industry. Normally, details like a parent's career might barely get a second look. But with Erika's life being dissected piece by piece, even those family connections started getting pulled into the conversation. Some people viewed them as ordinary biographical facts, while others tried connecting them to larger theories circulating online, despite no verified evidence establishing those broader claims. Erika's father, Kent France, also became part of the online digging because of his reported work as a program manager for Raytheon, one of America's biggest defense contractors. Raytheon has handled a massive range of U.S. government contracts, including projects connected to Israel. Some people following Erika's story treated that family connection like another piece of a bigger puzzle, while others asked the obvious question, does her father's job actually prove anything about Erika herself? On its own, it doesn't. Online commentators also zeroed in on remarks Erika made during a CBS town hall with Bari Weiss, arguing that her comments deserved more attention and pushing the debate into yet another lane. Whether any of these separate connections actually mean something or are simply unrelated facts being stitched together online remains heavily debated. And one distinction matters here. Charlie Kirk should not be labeled anti-Semitic based on this material.
You guys are absolutely crazy. The amount of people who attacked me for sending out a tweet being like, hey, I'm good, I'm alive. We had a very productive conversation. And they were like, she got the call. She got the call. She's betrayed us. She's doing something else. I can't believe it. This has all just been a show. Calm down, okay? What do you think happened? Erika said, stop. And then I was frozen for 4 hours and 30 minutes, just like, as they just put all of these talking points into my head. That is not what happened. I keep telling you guys, I am not governable. I am basically akin to Kanye West. I never felt more seen than when he tweeted a lot of years ago, just fired my manager because I realized I can't be managed. That is me. That tweet right there, I was like, oh gosh. Yes, Kanye, that I get this.
Erika consistently described Charlie as a strong supporter of Israel, although some commentators argue that his public record was more complicated than that simple description might suggest. They point to Charlie's criticism of certain Israeli government policies and actions, particularly surrounding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He also discussed what he viewed as Israel's influence in the wider world of American politics. Those statements have remained part of the debate over his political legacy, with different audiences interpreting his positions in very different ways. Charlie also generated major attention by publicly claiming that Jeffrey Epstein had ties to Israeli intelligence. That allegation has circulated widely, but has never been established as fact and remains disputed. Still, commentators continue bringing it up when examining Charlie's positions on Israel, U.S. politics, and international affairs, making it another controversial piece of a political record that people are still arguing over. That claim remains one of the most controversial statements connected to Charlie's public commentary. Then came Erika's lengthy CBS interview, where she appeared determined to tell her side of the story and respond to the criticism surrounding her increasingly public role. With questions and theories piling up online for weeks, this was one of her biggest chances to address the noise head-on. But even after the interview, the internet was nowhere close to agreement. Some viewers said Erika's answers seemed carefully prepared and polished, rather than completely spontaneous.
Some of you might get upset about what I'm about to say, but this is a scripted show meant to distract you, keep you entertained, and steal your energy. While everyone is glued to the latest drama, more surveillance is quietly passed, and your tax dollars are sent overseas. Again, while people are told to look over here, the people in power are over here, stripping away your rights and stealing away your children's future. And don't forget to buy the latest book with the perfectly bolded words, "Stop God." The sooner people realize these club members speak in symbols and coded narratives, the sooner it clicks. So I hate to burst anyone's bubble, but they're not actually fighting each other. They are on the same team. What you're watching is not reality. It is a show. But what do I know? I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Let me know what you think.
Others watched the exact same conversation and saw something totally different. A grieving widow trying to choose her words carefully, while millions of people analyzed nearly everything she said and did. Neither reaction by itself proves what Erika was actually feeling behind the scenes. Another major debate has centered on Turning Point USA and what some critics claim is a changing approach toward messaging about Israel. Critics say they've noticed a meaningful shift, while supporters strongly reject that reading and argue people are connecting dots that simply aren't there. The reactions surrounding Erika now run from genuine sympathy to extremely sharp criticism, and almost every new interview, speech, or appearance seems to restart the debate. Some online discussions about Israel have even spilled into speculation about the circumstances surrounding Charlie Kirk's death. But that's where things can get seriously twisted. Without verified evidence, theories about motives, hidden connections, or who might have been responsible beyond the established case remains speculation and should never be presented as confirmed fact. One of the loudest voices demanding more answers has been Candace Owens, who was once widely described as a friend of the Kirk family.
What I don't want to have happen is women, young women in the city, look to the government as a solution to put off having a family or a marriage because you're relying on the government to support you instead of being united with the husband where you can support yourself and your husband can support and you can guys all combine together. But I just find it so ironic and so interesting that a heavy percentage of the individuals that voted for him were female.
In recent months, though, the disagreement between Owens and Erika has become much more public, with the two appearing to land on very different sides of several major issues. Their back and forth quickly became its own controversy, pulling in supporters, critics, and social media commentators ready to dissect every new statement. But Owens hasn't escaped scrutiny either. Some people online have questioned her motives and why she continues pushing certain theories, although those accusations remain unproven. Early in the controversy, Owens publicly suggested that Charlie may have believed he was facing serious threats before his death. While explaining her position, she referenced claims involving a dinner with Israeli donors and alleged messages suggesting unidentified people were supposedly coming after him. Those are explosive allegations, but they have not been established as fact. That distinction hasn't stopped the claims from spreading like crazy online. Critics accused Owens of making an already painful and politically charged situation even more divisive by challenging parts of the official account without verified evidence. Owens, however, didn't back down. She continued demanding answers and said she planned to keep asking questions until she believed the available facts had been fully examined. That stance has split audiences right down the middle, with supporters praising her persistence and skeptics warning that repeatedly discussing an unverified theory still doesn't turn it into evidence. As the story kept unfolding, Candace Owens turned more of her attention directly toward Erika, digging into her background, public record, and past connections. That switch sent the online conversation into another gear, with supporters and critics looking at the exact same details and walking away with wildly different conclusions. Every new post, clip, or supposed connection seemed to kick off another heated round of internet detective work. During her commentary, Owens floated the possibility of connections involving intelligence agencies, but she did not provide verified evidence establishing those claims. Instead, she pointed to several details she considered unusual and argued that they deserved closer examination.
You are an opportunistic grifter who weaponizes your gender to demean women. And you are a walking, talking, breathing example as to why nobody, number one, wants to be a Christian. And number two, wants to be a female hypocrite such as yourself. Your language, your organization makes women less safe all across the board. Your deceased husband was an unrepentant racist and a homophobe. And women are a lot more empathetic than you are, Erika. A lot of women who have been mothers or have had attachments in their lives that felt very nurturing are able to transfer, like I'm able as a mother, when I had a child, to transfer the empathy that I felt for my child, to transfer that to all people. And I think about a woman.
Given how serious an intelligence agency connection would be, though, questions and coincidences alone aren't enough to prove one. That didn't stop the theory from gaining major attention. Then another twist entered the conversation. Some commentators claimed certain aircraft were connected to the Egyptian military, sending social media into another frenzy of speculation. Those claims eventually became part of wider discussions involving prominent figures such as Tucker Carlson. Supporters argued that asking questions and demanding more information was completely fair, while skeptics warned that dramatic theories can spread much faster than the evidence behind them. Unless reliable evidence confirms those alleged connections, they remain claims, not established facts. None of those explosive claims have been publicly established as fact, but that didn't stop them from becoming a major part of the conversation surrounding the case. As the allegations spread across social media, Erika eventually responded publicly to Candace Owens. When asked about the growing controversy, Erika called on Owens and others to stop spreading speculation and stop digging through her personal life. But instead of shutting down the drama, that response kicked off another wave of reactions. Supporters and critics once again landed on completely different sides, with some defending Erika's desire for privacy and others arguing that unanswered questions still deserved attention. Then came the mocking comments, including LMFAO, she's so scary. That kind of personal shot grabbed attention fast, but others pointed out that insults don't actually prove or disprove any of the claims being debated. They just drag the conversation into a different lane. Meanwhile, Candace showed no sign of dropping her questions or criticism. The public back and forth kept getting louder until both sides apparently reached the point where trading statements from a distance wasn't getting them anywhere. Eventually, Erika and Candace agreed to meet face-to-face. That decision immediately raised the stakes, with people watching closely to see whether a private conversation could finally clear up some of the tension, or whether it would open the door to an even messier chapter in an already heated public feud. After the face-to-face meeting, Candace Owens said things had actually gone well and described the conversation as productive, despite all the sharp public disagreements between them. But there was another detail that immediately caught people's attention. Owens said information shared during that meeting gave her even more confidence in some of the questions and claims she had already been raising. That statement naturally got people talking. Owens has not publicly produced conclusive evidence verifying those broader claims, so many of the biggest allegations remain disputed and stuck firmly in the realm of speculation. Even while saying the meeting was positive in certain ways, Candace made it clear she didn't believe every major question had suddenly been answered. Owens continued saying she wasn't ready to accept every part of the official account without additional scrutiny. In her view, there were still loose ends worth examining and questions that deserved further attention. That position kept the controversy moving and triggered yet another wave of reactions online. But here's where things got messy. Even some people who had supported Candace's questioning weren't happy that she acknowledged finding common ground with Erika. Some critics accused Owens of backing down or even protecting Erika with comments like, "Candace took the money," spreading rapidly online. But there's no public evidence establishing that Owens was paid to change her position, so that accusation remains unsupported speculation. Despite all that backlash, Owens has repeatedly insisted she hasn't switched up. She says she's still asking questions, still examining the available information, and is still standing behind her concerns. So the debate remains locked in place, with both sides arguing over what the evidence actually shows and which unanswered questions genuinely deserve more investigation. While some people now claim Candace Owens abandoned her mission to push for more answers, suggesting she folded under pressure or had some other motive, plenty of others strongly reject that take. Then there's another theory floating around online. Some commentators believe the public feud between Candace and Erika was never as genuine as it looked, and may have benefited both women by keeping their names in the spotlight. That's a dramatic theory, but there's no verified evidence establishing that the feud was staged or coordinated. Still, all that speculation has added another wild layer to an already heated story. Erika is now facing what could be one of the biggest tests of her public life. She's helping lead Turning Point USA, the organization Charlie Kirk helped build, while trying to maintain the confidence of its supporters under nonstop scrutiny. Every speech, interview, and appearance gets clipped, analyzed, and debated almost immediately. And the leadership question isn't going away. Some critics wonder whether Erika has enough experience for such a visible position, while others simply say her speaking style and message don't connect with them. Some commentators have even argued that her biggest problem might not be organized opposition. It could be getting people interested enough to keep watching. They've pointed to reports claiming Erika's CBS town hall drew lower viewership among adults ages 25 to 54 than the network's usual programming in that time slot. But ratings aren't a perfect scoreboard. Competition, scheduling, promotion, streaming habits, and other factors can all affect viewership. So one television performance alone doesn't prove how much support Erika actually has. Critics have seized on those ratings as a sign that plenty of viewers simply weren't interested enough to tune in. But television numbers can rise or fall for all kinds of reasons, and one broadcast doesn't tell the full story. Either way, Erika doesn't appear ready to fade into the background. She keeps showing up for interviews, speeches, and media appearances, while critics question whether she's the right person to lead Turning Point USA, and supporters continue backing her efforts. More recently, Erika has pushed her commentary beyond Turning Point USA itself, weighing in on issues such as the New York mayoral election and topics involving women and public policy. That move put her into much bigger political conversations and introduced her to audiences who may never have paid much attention to her before. And with a bigger audience comes a whole new level of heat. Once Erika started speaking about a wider range of political issues, reactions quickly spread beyond her core supporters. Some people responded with criticism, frustration, or straight-up disinterest, while others welcomed her willingness to step into the debate and publicly defend her views. But one criticism keeps following Erika around. Some skeptics say the image she presents feels too polished or too closely built around continuing Charlie Kirk's legacy. Her supporters see the exact opposite, arguing that her determination to carry on his work is completely sincere. That divide cuts right to the heart of the controversy. People can watch the same speeches and interviews yet come away with totally different judgments about Erika's motivations and what her increasingly prominent political role actually represents. One accusation that blew up online claimed Erika started selling Charlie Kirk merchandise less than 24 hours after his death. That allegation quickly became another talking point, alongside brutal comments like, "She is disturbing to watch. If she thinks she is subtle, she is wrong." Once remarks like that started circulating, the debate got even messier. Supporters pushed back hard, arguing that some accusations were missing key context or being repeated without enough solid information to back them up. Despite all the heat, Erika has also received plenty of support from people who believe the internet has gone way beyond reasonable criticism. On Reddit, including communities built around unpopular opinions, some users argued that questioning her decisions was one thing, but turning speculation about a grieving widow into personal accusations was something else entirely. One Reddit user wrote, "Watching how people are treating her has been genuinely disturbing." The same user continued, "The woman's husband was shot in the back of the neck 3 months ago. She has 2 small children, and she's being accused of being complicit in his murder, not truly caring about him, being a bad mother because she looks after his organization, and trying to sleep with the married vice president." The post struck a nerve and circulated widely. But those serious accusations referenced in the quote remain allegations, not established facts. Others still defended the criticism and argued that public figures should expect scrutiny. That clash shows just how divided the conversation has become, with one side seeing legitimate questions and the other seeing an online pile-on built partly around speculation and personal judgments. Those defending Erika say the whole conversation has become one giant mix of political disagreements, online speculation, and straight-up personal attacks. From their perspective, criticizing Turning Point USA, challenging its policies, or questioning Erika's decisions as a public leader is completely fair game. But they argue things cross a serious line when criticism turns into attacks on her character, or people start acting like there's only one correct way a widow should publicly show grief. To them, those are two very different conversations, and mixing them together only makes an already messy situation even harder to judge fairly. Wherever people land on Erika Kirk, rebuilding confidence among skeptics could be one of the toughest challenges ahead. She remains under a microscope, with critics continuing to question her appearances, leadership, and public messaging. Meanwhile, supporters believe she's been judged far too harshly, especially when opinions about her grief are treated like proof of what she thinks or feels behind closed doors. Whether those perceptions eventually change is anybody's guess, but right now, simply getting some audiences to hear Erika's message without immediately picking it apart has become a challenge of its own. This story has triggered passionate reactions from nearly every direction. Supporters believe Erika has faced an unfair online pile-on during one of the most painful periods of her life, while critics continue questioning her leadership, public image, and some of her past statements. With both sides firmly dug in, this debate doesn't look like it's disappearing anytime soon. And as more interviews, archived posts, opinions, and reactions surface, there's always another angle ready to blow up online. But after everything we've covered, where do you stand? Do you think Erika Kirk has been judged way too harshly, with speculation getting mixed up with legitimate criticism? Or do you believe the scrutiny surrounding her public role is justified? Drop your take in the comments below and keep it respectful. Stick to the facts and separate confirmed information from rumors. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and share the video with somebody who might have a different take on this story. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.